Breathing in, I go back to the island within myself. There are beautiful trees within the island. There are clear streams of water. There are birds, sunshine and fresh air. Breathing out, I feel safe. I enjoy going back to my island. Breathing in, I go back to the island within myself. There are beautiful trees within the island. There are clear streams of water. There are birds, sunshine and fresh air. Breathing out, I feel safe. I enjoy going back to my island.
Okay, that's all right.
Okay, ready?
Watch out.
Oh my God. No. That jawline. Oh my So if we have this again, then everyone.
Alright, here they go.
How many?
One left.
Come on, good.
Okay, watch out. Follow the ball.
I got it.
Hey, watch out, I gotta do it again.
I got it.
Hey, we're getting ball. Alright, ready?
We said.
Yeah, mentor!
Yeah. We gather in the hall, okay, guys?
Okay.
Then we'll play some more.
Ancestors, you know. So let's sit beautifully and be aware of this present moment. Very precious, very feeling now. And we're bringing it inward and imprinted in every part of our body, ourselves. This joy, this happiness, this peace that we touch. Come back to our breath. And we enjoy this moment deeply. Every breath. Dear respected teacher, dear brothers and sisters, dear friends, it's nice to know that the retreat is not over. There will always be with us, right? The moment you sit here, you can feel that, and it will always be with you. You can sit and follow your breathing when you go home. You can always touch this moment. So even though you go home, you can always have a retreat inside. Because your memory, you have a beautiful memory of your weekend, our weekend together. So it's always eternal inside of you. You can always touch that peace, that joy, that happiness. So just remember that when you can stop and sit on your bed and breathe, or in your car, you can always touch this moment. This morning we have a chance for us to ask questions, anything that we've learned. Especially now we'll go back to our daily life. Maybe there's some things still lingering in our heart, maybe not clear about the practice or some challenges that you might be facing when you go home. This is a good time to ask. Last moment with brothers and sisters, and we'll do our best to share our experience, especially with things to do with how you will go back and adapt and apply this. We don't want you to get addicted to retreats, although they help, but we want you to practice at home. So if there are challenges that you have and you want to know how to practice with it, this is the time to do it. So these are very precious moments. And if you ask a question, it's from your heart, then it can also benefit many other people. Because many people have a similar situation, or they can see. So that's the intention this morning. And anything else? I'm curious about our lives as monastic. You always kind of wonder. You can ask now. And it's better than reading in the book, because you're going to get really lively answers. And these brothers and sisters are really cute. We're not very traditional, so and we grew up in America, so we like to share straightforward, and so don't be shy. It's better than getting it from some other source. You ever have a question? So with that, I'll pass this mic around, or if you have a question, just raise your hand. I'll pass this mic to you. And you can share your name and ask your question. If you feel shy or something, you could get a piece of paper and write it. If it's definitely too difficult for you, but it's important for you, you can also do that. So please, we'll start with maybe one question back and forth, keep it lively for my brothers and sisters. Tony, you have a question?
So this weekend, I feel like we've learned a lot from you guys, and I was wondering, what's one thing that you guys have learned from us that you guys cherish from this retreat?
One thing that we learned from them since they learned so much from us, it learns how to feel things. Not just one thing.
Dear brothers and sisters, dear friends, I'm very happy to hear that question because we don't often get that kind of question. It's always the other way around. What have you guys learned? And I think for me, being here, I learned that young people, especially with this group, you guys come here and you have so much goodness in you, And what really inspired me is your diligence. You know, I see that all of you really come to all of the activities. You're very present, very wholehearted. But even when we play volleyball, you're also wholehearted. And I see that you guys know how to have fun, but you're able to learn the practice. And personally, in our circle sharing, I really cherish how our young friends can really open up and share your challenges. And I think you wouldn't be able to do that if you did not have that trust and that friendship that we were able to bind. And I think I want to leave the space for my other brothers and sisters to share, because I already shared last night. I just enjoy being every moment with you guys. Like every one of you, even if you're not in my circle sharing, but seeing that you guys can slowly open up and offer a smile to us. And when I see that you guys are having fun, even when you're coming to the morning meditation and you come to all the practices, the deep relaxation, and you're able to snore and laugh. I mean, that's just real stuff, you know, and that's, for me, it's so enjoyable to see that. And that's what makes it fun for us as monastics, being with you guys. Thank you.
Dear family, I also would like to take this opportunity to share with you that I'm very happy to be with you. I learned that you are very good earth. You know how we put on our ceremonial robes this morning, the yellow sangati, and it has these lines. They represent the rice fields. And as monks and nuns, we cultivate our field. And so in that way, you are the earth and we plant the seeds. But we are also the earth and you plant the seeds in us. So we are in each other. And being with you, I touch deeply the suffering that you have. Because you share, however young you are, you experience deep suffering in yourself, in your family, in society, and at the same time, such good earth you are that you are able to open up so quickly and to absorb the nutrients, the Dharma that transmit to you, and you blossom in just a day or two. And so it's not barren, old earth that takes a long time, but you really have a capacity to receive, to transform, to heal, and to flower very quickly. And that nourishes us a lot as monks and nuns. It gives us the sense of, we are practicing in the right tradition. These practices are beneficial or effective. When you do something, you like others to benefit, and to see you benefiting them also nourish our path as well. So I'm deeply grateful to you for being here, for being open to receive and to give us so much.
So dear brothers and sisters and dear friends, and for myself also I was really touched and I received a lot from this retreat, especially your joyful and friendship. And of course in our family we have discussed the third training, true love. And I find that my sister Dee shared that if a good environment with love, from kindness and care, it can help us open up and see the light, see the beauty and the good quality in other people. and so that it can heal, it can help us open up and connect and see life is beautiful and it's not always dark or something. And with the practice, I think give us a chance, all the young people. And I find that all the young people, even also the adults, they open up and just enjoy the practice together as a community. And I see the transformation had taken place little by little. Of course, it's not easy, to be perfect in true love, but we are going in that direction. And I think each of us has that, element and quality that in that direction. It's just taking a small step at a time, and maybe one day if we continue to practice, that true love can be more profound and deeper, and you can share that with the people around you and also to yourself. And you see that these young people have the capacity to take it and train ourselves and to be able to love ourselves and others. So that's what it touched me. Thank you for your friendship.
Have a question? Can you stand up? Raise your hand. We'll pass the mic. Listen to the sound of the bell.
Hi. So, on his path to enlightenment, Siddhartha, the Buddha, encountered suffering as one of the first things. I think in life, all of us have encountered suffering at one point. So, how would you come to terms within yourself that suffering exists and you can't do anything to completely stop it or end it?
The story of the Buddha. Have you read Old Pathway Car? Old Pathway Car, teacher wrote it to describe the life of the Buddha, not as a god or some great being, but as a human being. I recommend that. It's a very beautiful story. It's like a love story of a young man, a young boy even, sure, when he was little. And I remember very much as a kid, Siddhartha was sitting here and watching, seeing the farmer dig up the dirt, and the worms getting hurt, cut pieces. That image is the strongest image for me in terms of that even children, they have their own suffering, and they can actually feel the pain of a worm. Like these bugs in the earth as it's being crushed. And you've seen those things. So even that is a kind of suffering. So that image for me is, and we see it around. But Siddhartha didn't just was stuck there and end up having the suffering make him despair and kind of like, oh, life is so unfair. But he also had a deep aspiration to actually find ways to relieve the suffering. And he really believed that. And I think for me as a young man growing up in the city, urban life, and being educated and running, just like many of you have shared. So there's a kind of angst, they call it urban angst. You know, the word is kind of like you don't really have a clear direction yet, so you're still kind of it's a kind of suffering because you're not very clear on your path, on what you're going to do with your life. And as young people, especially if you come from Asian background, you know, there's a real strong seed in our ancestors to help and to serve and to, you know, but somehow the society diminishes it, and it's a kind of suffering. Besides in the family, our parents have that suffering too, so we see that. But for me as a young person, when I discovered the practice of meditation and calming my mind, I saw that it's not only suffering, it's also happening at the same time. I saw like in the family, we try our best, my brothers and sisters, to actually, because of the suffering, my brothers and sisters, we got really, we helped each other a lot through things. So there's also things that came out of it that was very beautiful. And when I discovered the practice, it helped me see the suffering that I had inside is the source of how I looked outside. And when I discovered that, it was like a whole new horizon. And coming back and seeing my suffering is because of the way I look at things, the way I perceive things. Somehow we blame outside because of the suffering. But usually you look closely at something to do more internal. We don't accept ourselves. We judge ourselves. So everything we do to others, we actually do it to ourselves first. If you are careful and you see that. And so when I learned that that's the source of a lot of the suffering, the way I perceive things, and also I learned practices to keep me balanced, so that the suffering of the world doesn't, pull me away. So I also see children, I see ocean, I see cloud. So you expand your mind, so it's not just the human world. It's like this human drama. I mean, you look at it, we're also in the life energy drama. This whole process of earth moving. And you're going to go back to the earth. And then you come out as flower and come back as part of a rock. So there's also a life moving around. And we're part of that. We're part of the animal ancestors. Well, we come from monkeys. So with meditation, you begin to see, wow, life is wonderful. So you begin to enjoy life, and you love life. And then that gives you the balance to actually handle the human stuff. When I have really challenges, I go in the forest. And I sit there, I stand there, and I look at a tree. And I try to look and empathize with the tree. And the tree sees so much. It's been around. It's like, oh, you humans. It's so funny. You ever look at a 200-year-old tree or a sequoia tree? And you sit there, and just like you look at a person who cries and you feel sad, right? You look at a child running around, you feel joy. We have the capacity to empathize, to, like Sister Dan shared, the mirror, to really feel. So I take refuge a lot in nature. Sometimes sit in front of a boulder, a rock, and I try to be the rock. Think of a 200,000-year rock standing there, sitting there. It's alive, and you can feel what that rock feels with all the human drama. So you have many perspectives. your meditation, looking at the way we look at our world. And you see the suffering is because people don't have the skill. See, many young people, they don't have the skills to handle their emotions. Therefore, they spill out suffering. So nobody is ever happy. Right? No one is evil. It's just because they don't have the tools. And you're lucky you found the tools to handle your emotions. So if you have a deep aspiration to help others find this tool to handle their emotions so they can suffer less, there isn't a place without suffering. There is no absolute end of suffering. This thing is a myth. There's only a transformation. Okay? In every family, in yourself as well. You see, there's moments in the year when you're sad. You just be with your sadness. And you learn how to balance it. Your body has a rhythm. It moves with the earth and moves. And sometimes it moves like this. And with the practice, you become more stable and calm. And you're less jagged up. So, good luck with you finding that balance for yourself. Another question?
Can I ask a follow-up question? Okay. So in response to that, I guess it's more specific to the 5 contemplation, or the 5 mindfulness teaching. So say you're working in a lab and you have to sacrifice mice in order to develop a more effective vaccine for, say, tuberculosis. How do you come to terms with that? Obviously, you're trying to end suffering in a way for more people, but in that moment, you are causing a being to suffer.
To the doctor.
In family, when we become vegetarians, we also should not become righteous in saying that we don't kill animals, because even the last few days when we eat vegetarian food, there's still many microorganisms, bacteria, viruses, and fungus, and all sorts of insects too, bigger creatures that get killed, get boiled, right? And so in that way, there's never the absolute, but we definitely can go in the direction of love, of concern. So becoming vegetarians or reducing their meat consumption. I hope you were noticing how your body was reacting to that telephone ring. Were you able to be calm? Yeah. Some follow the breathing. Who could follow the breathing? Raise your hands. There's just a few. What What did the rest of you do?
Looked.
Huh?
To see where it's at, and I followed the people.
Even if I wasn't looking, I still knew where it was coming. So it's just a training. See if you can do that when you go back out there. Yeah, because the phone rings all the time, right? It can cause a lot of stress. So anyway, it's when we become vegetarians, it's the direction of kindness, of love that we go into, but we cannot be absolute or self-righteous about it. I think it's the same thing in medicine. People are trying to find ways so that we don't have to sacrifice the animals to do all these different experiments. So I think many of these experiments can be reduced, can be used by different means, and also the intention to, I know when I was going to UCSF medical school, a researcher, actually he got a Nobel Prize in Medicine for discovering the prion for mad cow disease. Have you heard of that? Yeah, he came from UCSF. He's a doctor and did a PhD from there, and he had many people working for him. But he himself was not a very happy, joyful, kind scientist. He was very tough on the PhDs, MDs who worked for him. So in that way, the things that we do is to feed our ego, to prove ourselves, and that will cause suffering not only to the animals, because we don't really care so much, we just use them as means for us to advance. So then the animals will suffer, but also we will suffer, and our family members will suffer a lot. So whatever we do to others, just as my brother was saying earlier, to other human beings or to other animals, we actually suffer that most directly. And we're the first ones to suffer. It's the compassion that we are killing in ourselves when we do things that we don't, we're not aware of, or that we do things just to advance, to compete, to prove ourselves, then it is our own compassion that we're killing off. And I also remember when I was in training, there was this oncologist, doctor who works with patients with cancer, and she came to teach us. And she said her teacher, when he also received a very major award as a scientist, he shared that over the last 50 years, I have become known in this area, and I've become very well respected, but I have not become a better human being. And his statement touched her very deeply. And so as a medical student, she became more aware of her intention, and she wanted to become a doctor that was more compassionate towards herself, her patients, and what the means that she used. And so one of the ways she expressed that was to come back and teach other medical students. So it's what we do, but also how we do certain things, the intention, the motivation that lies beneath it will determine whether that will bring happiness or suffering to ourselves and to those who are involved.
Question over here? Pass the mic.
assume that you guys practice or adhere to the Mahayana form or branch of Buddhism. So my question is, how do you differentiate between Theravada Buddhism, Zen Buddhism, and Tibetan Buddhism, and what do you see as their goals?
What do you see as?
How do you guys see their goals as a branch of Buddhism?
Different traditions.
We're actually not Mahayana, we're Hahayana. It's a new branch of Buddhism. It's starting right here from Seattle. Hahayana. Go tell our teacher that. Hahayana. As you study Buddhism, and if you practice, that's the main important thing. So you study Buddhism, so it teaches you how to relieve your suffering. So whether you learn that from Tibetan, Theravada, Mahayana, or any other tradition, any books you read, you have to ask yourself, what does this have to do with my life? How is this helping me relieve my suffering? It's the most important thing. As you read and study anything else, the same thing. What does this have to do with my life? So we're Mahayana, but our teacher is also mixing with Theravada, mixing with science, Western culture, Eastern culture. So our tradition in Plum Village is quite eclectic. But its original teaching comes back to the original words of the Buddha, where he taught about the breath, the full foundation of mindfulness. So it's very practical. So our teacher, I've reviewed it, and that's why I like it, because it's very like, okay, I try it and see what happens. Okay, it's not happening. You know? So it's nothing I have to believe in, but it's something I have to try. So the Plum Village tradition is very based on practical practices as well as therapeutic. It means there's relief right away, and it's not like you do it so you can get it in the future. You know, it's kind of like health. I want to be healthy. You go around and say, I want to be healthy, but you don't start to change the way you eat. You don't start to change your behavior, your sleep patterns, your exercise. And you can still continue to, I want to be healthy, I want to be You'll never be healthy, right? It's kind of like being peaceful, I want to be peaceful, I want to be peaceful. But there's nothing, it's good, it reminds you, and it's serenity, and it's also reminding you watering good seeds. But if we do it just for some future health, then it's, you have to look at it again. So the practice gives you immediate relief. So our Plum Village, that's why I've arrived, I'm home. You are perfect the way you are. Continue to practice and you'll discover and understand more. So our tradition is Mahayana, but it's not like Pure Land or like praying for some rebirth or like even reincarnation. It's happening right now. So some of the beliefs you come across, like in Buddhism, they believe in reincarnation and stuff like that. It's like, yeah, it's happening right now. You're dying right now. Cells are falling off. There's stuff dying in your mouth, in your stomach. And every time you scratch, your cells are dying. And because of that death, other cells are reborn. So reincarnation happens right in this very moment. So you don't have to wait until later, like, oh, now I die. Every night you go to sleep, you should think, tonight, I'm going to die. This is what we practice, huh? Train yourself. So there's a lot of beliefs out there, and I won't go into it meticulously. Just mainly just to, as a guide for you, is that every time you study these different traditions, you have to make sure you try it out. Okay? Don't just believe it. Like everything you learn in this retreat, you have to go on the court and play the tennis, and not just sit there and say, oh, I want to play tennis. You have to go home and sit and be calm. Follow your breath. See how concentrated you are. Every time you hear the bell or something ring, the telephone ring, stop and breathe. And see if it really brings you calm. So this is our tradition, is teaching more immediate relief. Tibetan has its tradition based on its culture. It had, so every place that Buddhism went, of course, it adapts to the culture of that land. And that's what I love about Buddhism. There isn't somebody there and saying, okay, you guys unify and make it all the same. But Buddhism is beautiful in that everywhere it goes, it adapts. So this is a new, I'm not joking in terms of like Mahayana, because we're adapting to the different cultures all around the world, and especially the modern culture now, which is very based on science. The direction Bangladesh is going is very more like evidence-based, science-based, and in fact our teacher is going into quantum, and a lot of things that they're finding in quantum science is actually already been experienced, and have the practitioners meditating in those insights are using their mind. But again, to emphasize what Sister Damien said, like a lot of scientists, they study all these things, they have great discoveries, you know, about the universe, the grand universe out there, or the minute little things, but they don't really know how their mind works. You look at their families, a mess, right? And they're so egotistical that they don't even want to work with any other scientists. So you can see right away their discovery, their insight, have no therapeutic effect on their own psychology, their own emotion, their own social skill. Most scientists are really socially inept and adept. They don't know how to like be nice. And all they think about is their laboratory, you know. And you have to really, if you want to be like that, fine. But for me, I think there's more to life than just a laboratory. So anyway, just be careful as you study, test it out.
I have a question. I think we sleep because we believe that we will wake up the next day. So if we are afraid of not being able to wake up the next day, should we still sleep or stay awake
Do you have this problem?
I ask myself every night, but I haven't found the answer yet.
This is a theoretical question. Let me try to understand it. You go to sleep because you know you're going to wake up, right?
We believe that we are going to
You
wake
believe
up.
you're going to wake up, right?
Yeah.
And if you don't believe
If
you're
you
going
are
to,
afraid that, yeah, if we don't do it.
then you're going to wake. Should you go to sleep?
Yeah.
No, don't go to sleep. Stay awake. Very simple, right? So if you really believe that, then don't go to sleep. Yeah. That's it.
Good luck.
You listen to one sound though.
Hello. Okay. So this whole weekend, you guys have been teaching us to try and find peace with ourselves and each other. But you know, it's like real life. So for you guys, is there like a time when there's like conflict and you're like having some monk on monk drama? You're just yelling and pulling each other's hair out. How do you guys like deal with it and get past the conflict and stuff? If there's any.
Very practical, huh?
So dear brothers and sisters and dear friends, as you can see that monks and nuns, we are still human, and even the Buddha, he was a human. Human carry with within us, their seeds of our energy. It can be hot. There's a cool energy, but there's a hot energy, and if you trigger that, and that can explode. It can explode in some form. And living in a community of monks, we have about 70s in Upper Hamlet, and we stay the same. Some stay together in room 3, 4, 2, and also we, besides practicing, we also work together. Everything we work as a community, and so we also cook together. We have a rotation where we cook, we bang the bell, we work, and so I just share from my experience. Because yesterday I shared about ease, taking it easy and stuff, but there are also times when the wave a little high or the wind a little strong, and that makes me like kind of not at ease. And so I shared with you a story just recently in the winter retreat, so just a few months. That I was in a rotation team, and we changed the teammate by season, and it happened that I worked with a young monk who came from, who just arrived, but he had a chance to work with me because I stayed in Plum Village for a while, and I supposed to also share with him the practice. And so we cook together, and as a host, usually we try to be hospitable, try to embrace our new brother, and so when I cook, I really take it easy. I chop my vegetable, and also I take it easy. Sometimes I came late, but I know what I want to cook. And I prepare. I cook simple. I don't want to cook extravagant food like the good food like the uncle and auntie here. Because at home my mom cook for me, so I don't know how to cook. But when you become a monk, you learn from your brother and sister, and you know how to cook. You have the quality in you. And it happened that sometimes you have idea, right? Cooking is an art, right? It's called cuisine or something. It's art. That's culinary art, right? Culinary art. And so sometimes, you want to create things. And of course I want to create, or I want to cook a good dish. And so I create my own recipe. When you work together, people, sometimes they have ideas about, that dish. But then as in a community, we have many different brothers and sisters, because it depends. Some cannot eat too spicy, some can eat too salty or sugar, things like that. And so it happened. I don't know how to cook a lot of dish, but one of my favorite is easy to cook is curry. And you know how curry has transformed or have, how you call elaborate or evolve. India, have a different kind of curry. And when it moved to Thailand, it's a different type of curry. And in Vietnam, it's a little bit different now, huh? And when it comes to Plum Village, it's called the Phap Thai turn, it's different. And so I have different ingredients. But of course, we go in the direction of healthy. So I have different ingredients, and I don't put a lot of spicy, a lot of curry, and not sour because personally I don't, put sour like lemon and things in there. But then so that day I prepare my curry, and then when I turn around, and walk away and do something else, and I see that brother, he tastes the curry, and then he just go and get the lemon, and then he just squeeze in. And I turn back and say, okay, I accept. Maybe I will try something new with this lemon. But then it's just not one piece. I start doing cut some more piece of lemon. And then just adding and adding. I said, oh my, I don't know how. Each of us have different preference. We can like the more salty, more sugar. So I don't know how much we put in the lemon. So I say, I think that's enough. Let me taste the curry. Yeah. But that's just one incident. So I know that he has this idea he likes to do this thing. So the next time, I see that he has this strong, he likes to do his thing. But I think I also shy too, and I should have talked to him. Hey, let me know if what you like to do. But let me know first. So let's compromise here. But in this community, it's different. It's not at home. You cook and then the guests just eat. We take into consideration of a whole community. And so the next time I know, I tell him, okay, today what do you want to cook? I offer him the space, so he can prepare his dish. And then I know that I prepare my dish. Just divide and conquer. How about that? And so I just let him do he can cook brown rice, and then also I want him to cook basic. He like to cook healthy too, so I asked him to cook, or he like to cook vegetable, right? And then I noticed there only a part of fresh spinach, and I know that spinach, if you cook it shrink down, and so I recognize this can fit for a pot of soup, and so I shared him, okay, I will cook some soup tonight, okay, and then I will, after lunch I went to sleep, to take a nap, just like we did here, and then when I came around 4, I said, spinach is not hard to cook. You just boil water, have saute some onion, and then put the spinach in. So it might take only a little bit of time. And so when I came in, and to my surprise, my brother who already get the spinach, and then he cooked like his dish. But luckily he haven't put all yet. But then he already prepared the spinach, on his table, and about to cook that dish. And then at that moment, I feel this energy in me, and I say, oh, what happened to my dish now? What's gonna happen? I don't have an ingredient to cook for my soup. And I feel that I already share. We compromise. Say, hey, I give you this ball, and as teammates, you gotta respect, and then give me that ball back. We can play ball with each other, right? Yeah, it's like, if in a team and you dribble the ball and by yourself, it's a little bit hard, and I felt that, and then I asked him, can I get some spinach back? I And if I think things would be easier for me, you know, if I can see this hot energy coming up, and my face a little bit hot. And to my surprise, I say, no, I need that spinach. And I say, no, but I need, you know, you can have some. But I need some spinach for the soup tonight because it's cold and it's good for the community to have some soup. But then, and he said this. He said that you know that if I have this little, then the spinach shrink down. I know that too. So then the fish, you know, you can, if a soup, it even shrink even more. But then at that time, I just say, you know, I sometimes you need to be tough. He's a younger brother. Like here, you gotta be flexible. As a brother, you know when you can be easy or soft. But at one time, you know that you need to be tougher. So to let him know that, hey, you know, you gotta respect the other people around you too, and I work together. So I say, no, but I need the spinach. So I just go grab the spinach. What I need for the soup, and I leave him, you know, in a portion because we have other salty dishes already, but we need a soup. And so that time I just take the spinach and then I cook my soup. And then, you know, I say, hey, you just come in here. I tell him, you just come here. You need to listen and work together and see, you know, to be harmonized. And say, yeah, okay, he be quiet. But then he asks, are you angry at me? Well, how can I answer? It's hard. There's energy in me, but I'm not. I breathe. I come back to my breathing, and I take care of that. And I'm not lying with him, but I can see that my energy has been contained. So there's the anger is not totally anger anymore. It's just this, how you call agitation. And so I tell him, I'm not angry at you. But it's just I try to understand more about you. I just want to see how you do things. But I can see how the breathing helps. I come back. And the rest of the time I don't engage in conversation because I feel it's not totally, you know, going down. And if I get engaged and, you know, we want to see, going back and forth with conversation like that, easily like water more seed. So I come back to my chopping and focus on my chopping. And slowly it come down. And we be able to, just come back to a basic conversation of how to bring the food out and just, you know, just go about our cooking. And so in monastery, at that time we would encounter. But we have to come back to our practice to contain that. So we won't say things that can hurt each other, or we do things that can, you know, cause conflict and, you know, bring a grudge in ourselves. And we also have the inner new, but I have not do that with him because I think I can transform and embrace and still love him as a brother, and we can communicate and live together. So that's my incident. I just want to share. Thank you.
Actually, it's the first time that I heard monk mantra.
You want to hear Nanda?
still talking about cooking. You guys say you eat healthy food, but is there ever a time like you get loose and eat unhealthy food? Like, you know, maybe some fried tofu or something? She
Dear brothers and sisters and dear friends, so on this tour, each of us have a job. So I was appointed by food inspector or health inspector. So we also eat. You think just eat only vegetable going when you think of eating vegetarian, but we also have other dishes, and sometimes we make fries and we eat like curries and other. Sometimes we want to eat. Some people want to offer some good dish like Vietnamese kind and different way of cooking. So there's a lot of oil in it too. But when we receive, we receive wholeheartedly when we eat. When we eat mindfully, we take just enough, and then how we observe our body, how is our body can adjust it or not. Sometimes we have different variety of dish on the table, 3 or 4. So if your health is not, your digestion system is not good, then you can choose other. But in our favorite dish in Plum Village, I don't know if you like instant noodle, but everyone says it's toxic. But because we don't often have a chance to eat that, so it's our favorite dish. Sometimes on lazy days we gather together, and it's always So when you go to Plum Village, you can offer us cigar. We are happy, and so we really enjoy it. But just not in moderation and with sisterhood and brotherhood. Even if just the way we think is toxic or not, it's just the way we think and how we say it to our body. But we just be mindful of what we put in. But we don't eat daily, every day like that. But it's down. We're not like pushing something, but we are observe ourselves, our body. If we eat that food in our body, you watch if your stomach goes well or not, and then next time you're aware that you won't take it.
So my question is on this. Because for the last few days I have learned. So for the last few days I have learned such a wealthful resources from all of the brother and sister. And I know this program is mainly focused on the young adult. So a lot of the material, or I would say all of it, is in English. But like I said, I would like to share some of my learning with the older generation, like the aunt and uncle, parents, and so what. So I was wondering, because I haven't had a chance to really, because I know there's the website, and I had read a couple of Vietnamese articles on there, but haven't really had the chance to really look into it to see what other material is available. But since that you guys are all here, rather than going to search, I figure I would ask the question directly and see if there's any material available, either online or anything like that, similar to what we have offered here to the group, so we can share it with our family when we get home, because it's hard when you're trying to translate everything that you learn. It could be that some of it you interpret what you understand, so I want it to be kind of like the exact wording of how you want to word it and how we want to share it with our family.
So dear respected teacher, dear brothers, sisters, and dear friends, thank you Jisung for asking that question. And first of all, thank you for coming to the retreat and having the inspiration to pass on the information that you learned from here to our elder generation. That's wonderful. Thank you very much. I think that whatever you have learned here, we do have the information available on the Plum Village website, especially for the Vietnamese website, lamai.org. Everything you need to know should be on there. Actually, it's include more information. It's all in Vietnamese and it's very descriptive. It's everything is on there. All of the practices that you learn from here, from eating meditation, sitting meditation, total relaxation, walking meditation, and many other practices, they are available online. And there's some wonderful stories that are being shared on the website as well. So there's a lot of information you can find in there. So you either can refer it to lamai.org or you can print it out and give it to them. And that's actually is a very useful source to be able to go online. And in addition, there's a lot of books that are available. They're written by our teacher in Vietnamese that you can go online and search for it. There's a second website, lamai.org, but nowadays it's available everywhere online. You just go to Amazon and punch it in. You just put in the name of our teacher. You will see how many books will come up. So for me, that's the most useful resource that you can go into. And I think I also have something for you to take home later, so you're happy to share with them. Okay. Thank you. We also have a lot of Thai Dharma talks available online, especially YouTube. Last year when we went to Google, we went to Google, we landed a day mindfulness there, and we worked with them, we give them the whole archive of our teaching, Dharma talks, and we slowly put them online on YouTube, so that will make it more accessible to everyone online. And the elder generation actually can listen to the Vietnamese Dharma talking by our teacher. So dear friends, the thing is, it's time for lunch. So if maybe we can take one more question. If anyone has a really very practical question from their heart, if you feel that if you don't ask the question, you won't be able to go home tonight.
Here's my laptop. You want me to just talk? Or?
Yeah.
Okay. So. Yeah, I don't want to hear how I sound on the microphone anyways. but it's something that's been bothering me a little bit. But the communication studies, when I was learning in college, there was a panel of masters and doctors, whatever, from communication studies, and all these accepted schools. All the teachers got together and said, let's lay out everything we teach to the students, because we don't want to teach them the wrong thing. So what they've come to agree on in the past couple of years is that they don't want to consider Buddhism as a religion, which I thought was cool because they ended up calling it a way of life. So that's how they taught it to us, and it was very new when I was learning it. It said, okay, Buddhism, the way of life. Hinduism, certain things, and they still say things like Christianity is more of a religion because you're worshiping God, and you have to, sacrifice so much for God. So then it kind of got me to thinking, wow, you can be a Christian and you can believe in Buddhism, follow Buddhism's way at the same time. Just, I think this is like a great answer to our community, a great answer to society. So I think the thing that I really want to know is, does Suam say anything about Christianity and God in his studies or in his teachings?
Buddhism, there's a kind of, when you sit still, you touch the wonders of life, you're very peaceful. Sometimes it makes you kind of just in awe of the wonders of life. We sometimes call that nirvana, which literally in the Indian language, the ancient language, means cooling down, turning off the flame. And the cooling off here is constant thinking, the human thinking. So when all these judgments of right, wrong, and our mind is still like a lake, sometimes we really come and touch that deep wonder within us and all around. And we have this sense of reverence to this beautiful thing. And people in other traditions, they can't describe it, so they describe it as some force, some God, some entity. I think I like what Einstein shared in his later years. In all his search in trying to understand how the cosmos worked and the patterns, he said something, I paraphrase him, he said, when you began to come really close to recognize this pattern, this beautiful harmony of the universe, there was a kind of sense, a religious sense. We never called it a god or religion. He just said he became in awe of this the sense of a cosmic sense. I forgot what word he used, but he used God, he used religion, but it's definitely a reverence for something. And this is something that's beautiful about the human being, that our capacity as we've grown and as we've evolved and our consciousness evolved, we have this capacity to sit and touch this beauty of life. Because you have 80 years, right, to be this kind of awareness, and the rest will dissipate and you'll become different awareness, energy. But as this human form, we're very lucky because we get to touch this beautiful wonder. So different parts of the world, different periods in history have expressed it differently. And as we've grown in terms of our understanding, it's become more universal. This is very important to know, not to get caught up and say, oh, they're so judgmental, these groups and that group and that group. Be careful of the media, because it will create in you a lot of bias and a lot of judgment. Just know that we're all on the process of evolving to a more universal reverence for the beauty of life in the billions of galaxies out there. So as we go into the 21st, 22nd century, is heading that direction, where we don't get caught in Buddhism or Vietnamese. But now we're crossing borders. We're seeing that everyone suffers, right? Everyone's trying to do their best. But we don't get caught in whether it's, name it mango, or it's an apple, or it's a banana, or it's mango, we don't get caught. We see it's all fruits. And we can enjoy the beauty and the sweetness of each fruit. So whether they call it God, and you see that they're a beautiful person, they're fresh, they're very kind, but maybe they have a belief just because that's the way they've been grown. We don't smash them and say, you guys are like out of date. You don't be too proud of that. So it's very important that what I love about the Buddhist teaching is that we're very inclusive. Our tolerance for others and other people's viewpoints and choice. That's where they're at. Maybe it's just a different kind of fruit than ours, but we respect it, and so we don't cause conflict. I think that's very important for all of you when you go home. Don't talk about Buddhism, don't talk about Buddhism, and don't talk about these monks and nuns, but be fresh, be kind, be patient. These are the qualities that will make that more true. But if you go home and you say, what I learned, this is what is good. You have to be more mindful. If you're not more mindful, then you're gonna suffer, you know. You start lecturing people about what you learn, and then you're doing harm. It's nice to be a good friend to show people when they, but only if they're willing, you know. You don't force it down to their throat. And this is what I love about our tradition. We only teach when people want to learn, and we don't force it on them. And I think that's what I love about if you look at the history of Buddhism. It's very beautiful. It's always adaptive and very tolerant and very flexible. But also not to judge other religion, because it's each human being is each human being. You have to deal with it. Don't generalize. Oh, their group or their group. You have to go in there and see what that fruit tastes like, and take the sweetness. If there's some sour, leave the sour. So this is what our teacher teaches. We do touch this sense, and he's written a book on Christian and Buddhism, Jesus and Buddha as both. And then the other one is Going Home, Living Buddha, Living Christ, Going Home too. So these our teacher is already in class and shaking hand with the Jesus. It's very beautiful. So please, if you you have friends in other tradition, please don't be too proud of Buddhism. Just be more soft and more tolerant. And what's more important is your heart and your mind, your peace, your freshness. So you don't, it's not about suffering, but it's also about celebrating, right? So just want to share that with you as a kind of disclaimer as you go home.
Once I'm aware that some of you may not come to the farewell lunch, so I just wanted to say a few things. When a young friend was asking about, if you know that you are not going to wake up in the morning, should you go to sleep? There's this anxiety about birth and death. There's this fear, this avoidance of suffering. That is always there in us, and it's how we take care of it. Most of us would say that we don't want to suffer, we want to be happy, but if you look deeply, you will see that we are very addicted. We are very addicted to suffering. So for example, when we play other video games, and the young people in my group, they share how that caused them to not be able to pay attention to school, to not be able to focus even on 2-3 sentences when they read. They have knee problems, they cannot communicate with their loved ones anymore, all those things, and yet we continue to play the video games because it is addictive, and if we become addicted to it, just as the many ways that we behave in our daily life, if somebody say, there's a better way to do it, we wouldn't want, because we're used to, certain ways. So I just very much hope that just the last 3 days that you have been here, that you have learned that it's possible to be awakened to joy, to wake up to joy, and that there are many different ways to live our lives. But we have to choose every day. We have to be awake, aware, and alert in order to make these choices instead of just falling back into the routine into these neural pathways that are so deeply rehearsed and ingrained in us, and become victims and just perpetuate that cycle of tension, of stress, of pain, of suffering. So again, to me, you are very good earth, but you have to constantly plow your own earth, and cultivate good seeds. And if by chance any of you feel during this week, you feel in your heart, I wish I could become a monk or nun. Last night there was a young lady who hugged me, and she said, I wish I had as much courage as you. She did say that to me. I wish I had as much courage as you, as much strength as you. And I said, you do. You do have that much courage and strength. You just have to choose each day. You see? So if you ever feel that deep inspiration, aspiration to be a monk or nun, you know that is your Buddha nature who wants to go in the direction of beauty, of truth, of goodness. And then you cultivate that in your daily life. You use the 5 mindfulness trainings, you know, like that young lady I shared with you that she got into gang and drugs and everything, but she kept reading the 5 mindfulness trainings on her iPod until her mind calmed down and was clear. And then she made small changes in her daily life, but it changed her life, you know, into a better direction. So each one of you here, you have that same chance. You are teenagers, you are young adults, and you meet the Dharma. So I hope that you water that seed of, you know, wanting to go in that direction of truth, of beauty, you know, of service, and you make that daily choice so that it helps you to come out of certain situations of suffering that you are in. So we're very, very happy to be with you. You know, you bring the best out of us as well. When we play volleyball with you, when we did the skit, it's not acting, it's living the child in us, living the... we also awaken, we also wake up to joy too with you, and we also transforming you as we practice and transmit the teaching to you. So it's not one way, it's both ways. Okay? So maybe we can listen to 3 sounds of the bell, and then if it's okay, we ask that you stay behind and take out 10-15 minutes to fill out the retreat evaluation forms and really give us feedback. It really helps us. We still have 1 more retreat, 2 more days of mindfulness, but also we hope this Viet Wake Up Tour to become a tradition so that it can happen once a year or every other year or something to benefit our youth, you know, who have Vietnamese ancestry. So please invest in that. Okay, and then after that, we'll have lunch here. So maybe we will, then when you are done, you will, maybe should we set a time? 12:45. 12:45 we go into the dining hall, we get the food, and then we do walking meditation here, just slowly, you know, when we get the food, and walk here, and we'll rearrange the meditation hall. So we sit in 1 or 2 circles, and we wait for each other, and then we read the 5 contemplations together, and we'll eat in silence for the first 15 minutes, and then we'll open the circle for sharing your deep transformation, insights, you know, your happiness. Like that, we'll share with each other. So please, if you can stay for just another hour or so, please do. It's a very special time. Okay? Thank you.
Dear friends, I would just like to make a quick announcement regarding the Wake Up. So we will have an email list sheet at the registration table for those who are interested in either attending the group or interested in organizing. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask myself or Team Kim. Just to let you know, there's a website called wakeup.org where you can find more information about the whole Wake Up Global movement. And if you have any questions about how to start up a Wake Up group, and feel free to ask myself or Team Kim. Is anyone who needs to leave early and would like to join? Can I get a raise of hands? No? Okay, because we haven't made the sheet yet. So I just want to make sure. So we will do that, and if you can, when you pass by the registration table, just fill in your name and email. Thank you.
And one last thing, our teacher said, if you don't have anything to do, you don't know what to do, you can join it, our 5-year program as a monk or not. That option as well. 5 years to invest in yourself. Yes.
Just one more announcement. We have a sheet that we're going around for emails, just for pictures too. So if you guys would like to sign up to receive pictures, that would be great. Thanks.
sit where you are, okay? And pass them out. So you have your own pens. Probably, yeah, only enough for now.
What's the consultation?
Yeah, please make sure you fill out the forms and then put them in the bell box, okay?
Thank you, thank you. I like your question. Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate it. That's why I always think it's a way around. Yeah. Where will the video go? I must edit it and I must post on YouTube. YouTube? Yeah, also must make it my total length about 12 hours. But I must cut it down. Can you tell me when you did it? Yeah, the video design on I think we will come on the email, mention my email. Another week, design a picture, right? Post picture and post video. Okay, that's good. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, he's pretty funny.
What?
The five contemplations. This food is the gift of the whole universe, the earth, the sky, numerous living beings, and much hard work, and much hard and loving work. May we eat and live in mindfulness and gratitude so as to be worthy to receive it. May we recognize and transform unwholesome mental formations, especially our greed, and learn to eat with moderation. May we keep our compassion alive by eating in such a way that we reduce the suffering of living beings, preserve our planet, and reverse the process of global warming. We accept this food in order to nurture our brotherhood and sisterhood, strengthen our community of practice, and nourish our ideal of serving all living beings.
share with each other. And look at the Sister V because she has a good way to invite that I'm trying to share. I don't know if I can do that. We take this opportunity to invite our friends here to share from your heart, the experience that you encounter here, how it has, changed us in some way, the way we look at them, how we connect. We just share the other location. At the end, I remember even the teens, their mom just put them in the car and just drop them off at the retreat. And they don't like to, at first they don't like to be at the retreat. But then at the end, they encounter something and they find out this is not what they think. And so they share from their heart and their experience that they enjoy the retreat. And even if something they don't like, they also share so that we can take it as a kind of evaluation so we can do better next time. So maybe I'll just pass the microphone and who would like to share, just raise your hand and the microphone will find ways to you and you can share. Okay, Andy, thank you. My impression of Andy is just a sweet teddy bear. He's just, he's very kind.
So it's been a long weekend. It's been a different experience. It was a long weekend. I had a lot of fun and definitely something to remember. It's coming to an end now, and I can't say that I'm leaving this place as a changed person completely, but what I can say is that I've met some of the greatest people, the most kind-hearted people I've ever met, and it's great to see that. It's really nice to see that people can just open up as wholeheartedly as just open up wholeheartedly. And I live life with the motto, trust others until they give you a reason not to trust them. And I gave everybody my trust, and in return they gave me theirs. And it was really nice to see that. And now I have a great group of new friends, and I couldn't ask for anything else better than that in the retreat.
Hello. My name is Vin, and I learned a lot on this retreat. So I really want to thank Lynn for telling us about it. Without her, we wouldn't have gone. All 10 of us, I think. But I learned a lot of stuff about relaxation. But I think the most that I learned was the many different ways to eat tofu.
Thank you, Siko, for having this event, for having all of us here to have this peaceful place that we haven't had before. Well, we had before, but we now in college, school, and live in the city a lot, and we don't observe a lot of nature and all this beautiful we wouldn't experience without having this event and meeting a lot of people from different places that we wouldn't know them through this week. And thank you for teaching us all those lessons, how to meditate and all those mindfulness that we would take throughout our life, and giving us more of our backbone and to move on in our life and learn from it. Yeah.
First off, communication is not my thing, and it probably never will, but it's will probably continue being a work in progress like all things in life. But I totally second that. Thanks all of the Thai and Go for leading their sacred or Plum Village to be here with us, even your spinach soup. And come and be with us here. I think all things in life happen for a reason, and so there's a reason why all of us are, at different points in our life, whether with age or with the kind of things we do. But there's a reason that why we all come together, and some left, but there's still a great number of us that's still here, and I'm grateful for that. And when I first went to Plum Village 2 years ago, or that kind of event, Plum Village 2 years ago, it was a very short stay. It was only 4 days and 3 nights. Very similar to this setting, time, but also setting and the environments around it. But I got a lot out of it. Certain characters, certain things that are within me, that I got a lot out from that, and then I still that I practice or that I do on a daily basis. And so being here, it helps to reiterate that. It helps to reinforce that. And I mentioned, or slightly in the previous Dharma circles, that I realized that I have more and more traits of my mom's, and whether I admit it or not, also traits from my dad as well. And so, and I've learned to cope and deal with it within, but also sorry, my mind's everywhere, probably a little spastic or ADD, a little over in the thoughts. I guess what I'm trying to say is that it's nice to be to get away for the weekend and be here with similar-mindedness and the energy that brings within us, but also surround us. For instance, yesterday we went, not yesterday, the day before that, we went on the walking meditations. And we were meeting right in front of the cafeteria or the dining hall. And it was very cold and breezy and all that. But as soon as we went on the walk, it should be, usually when you speed things up or do things, you get heated up. But we were walking super slow, and we were. But it got, all of a sudden, this trends, this energy within, but also, like I said, surround us. It just warms things up. It's hard to describe. I know part of this retreat is to help us to kind of live in the now and the then, enjoy the present, and I do, trust me, I do. However, it was so hard on that walk, and I enjoy it a lot, seeing what's out there and learning what's being given to us and presented out there. But being that I'm a human being still, and that my mind got distracted, a lot of things gone through my mind, and I think at some point mumbled up to myself, or quietly, of course. And this fella, he of course kind of leaned in. What is he talking about? Or what is it's okay? It was a cuckoo. It's a wonderful walk. I don't know. But a lot of things, they make me realize a lot of things, or that's already there, but it just helped bringing it up and out, you know. And like I said, communication is not that day. Don't try it. Bear with me. It's nice being able to get away from a fast-paced society, or fast-paced society, but specifically if you're in a city, to go out here to kind of being with a small, somewhat group of individuals that you can relate with, but also be able to kind of relate to nature and what nature has to offer, what Mother Earth has to offer, and through the teaching of Tai and Go. And so realizing that we as individuals and responsible individuals, if that may be, do not to take things for granted. I don't know, just make it. I guess I'm just happy to see so many individuals to come here to see that and embrace that and participate in almost every event, if not all. And I don't know, and this is my own, everyone's lived differently, and this is not to preach or lecture or anything, this is how I see things, and there's different things in finding, a solution, a way of this or a way of that. And so I think in life there's all sort of obstacles and things and challenges that we go through. If there's a positive, of course there's going to be the negative. And so, but the important thing is how we are able to define and find ways to face it, deal with it, and yes, that too. And if life is all the positive, it wouldn't be life in itself. That wouldn't be the beauty of it, I think. And so the important thing is to find a balance in it. That's the key word, I think, is to find a balance in all things that we do. And so, on that note, I guess also to point out that in terms of live responsibly as well, in terms of like this is how and I'm still much more room to grow and to learn and to explore even more, that sometimes we tend to get carried away for whatever reason and complain about life this, life that. She disagrees. And so, but if you get a chance to kind of, whether to meditations or to travel back to a place that is far less unfortunate than us, where we are in our society, and you get to see things that otherwise you wouldn't be able to, then you kind of realize that, and sit back and realize that I haven't traveled a whole lot myself, but a few places enough to kind of realize that sometimes you never know. Like tomorrow, when someone mentions you have a fear of waking up tomorrow, not being able to, enjoy the breathe anymore because you worry that you might no longer be alive, and so not to take life for granted, and so be courteous, be gentle, be mindfulness in all things that we do. And I don't know, I guess, yeah, just to probably seize the moment, enjoy it, live it to the fullest. But at the same time, give back to Mother Earth if you, no, seriously, because she has offered a lot of her energy and resources to us, and we don't see it on a daily basis or regular activities or things that we do. But she's offered so much, and so our resources, believe it or not, I mean, it's slowly, on top of global warming, of course. And so, if we get a chance, give back to Mother Earth, whether planting a tree, environmental or trash pickup, environmental activities that kind of help promote and that recycles, just to but also. And I see this happen here as well. Give back when you get a chance. Sometimes that can be a source and an outlet for you to kind of find balance in life. Give back, volunteer, whether here in your local community or abroad. Because for me, I see pictures, sometimes it's helped to think outside the box too. A lot of people, I volunteer as a Peace Corps volunteer in Morocco 2 years, or from 2011 to 2013. People have questions. Why do you go there? There's nothing there. Why do you have to help those people? I say, and my response is that Earth is a home. Whether you do one thing in one place, directly or indirectly affects to another place, vice versa. And so, I'm going to a tangent. But you get the basic idea of what I'm trying to get at. And so, yeah. And so, but I'm happy that to be here, and I was able to, for the most part, I guess, have my phone off the entire time, and that was. I don't really rely much on technology myself. On that note, actually, technology is not all a bad thing, depending on how you use it and how you, and so, but. It's nice. It's nice to actually be physically here. I think probably since my mind worked at probably 110 miles per hour. So I don't know. It's just being able to be here for the most part, and so I enjoy that a lot. Thank you, Taiko. Thank you.
All right, I'll take it now. Oh, sorry. Hello. Hello. Actually, mine says no battery, so of course, okay. I'm assuming you guys can hear me. So when I first came here, I was really hesitant on going because the first time I went was in Plum Village in 2012, and I was scared that going here might tarnish that memory and not be able to live up to the wonderful memories I had. And now that we're here and looking back on it, I actually had a far better time, if not, even greater and stuff. So, I enjoyed all the learning and stuff, and hello. And I look forward to going to the next retreat, and I look forward to hearing about some more of this monk on monk drama. or none, no discrimination. So.
Hello, my name is Compass, also known as Lisa, my English name. But what my brother was just basically saying, the one in orange over there. I went to Morocco with him, and it actually teaches you a lot of things, especially with Peace Corps. You should try to save and conserve, not with just energy, but recycling and everything. But besides that, that's what he was trying to go with, okay? Give back to earth and whatnot. And eating wise, not wasteful. I have a lot of girlfriends that are into designer, Gucci, and all this stuff. When I come down to realize those are materialistic things, and right now I'm actually saving up to be, when my mom retires, I'm actually going to travel with her and actually go back to Plum Village. So those are materialistic things where my brother was trying to say, it's actually just things. You guys don't need it. With technology and stuff, we do need it due to the fact that we are in a more advanced stuff. But Facebook, I do have it to connect with my friend from other state or country. But I feel like it is a distraction, it's true. And I learned that from Plum Village when I did go 2 years ago. And my mom did trick me coming here. She said she was going to come here, and she said, you can bring your Lucky, which is my dog. Sorry for all the distraction. But I'm glad I'm here. I thought I was going to reenact what Plum Village was, and it was wonderful. If you guys ever have a chance, save up and go to Plum Village, then you know exactly what I'm saying. I was humble before, but going to Morocco, traveling with my brother and mom, and actually going to Plum Village, it's actually opened up more. The reason why I'm crying is not because I'm sad, I'm actually happy. Because it actually makes you a better person when you go to Morocco and see how people live, and then go to Plum Village to end your trip. Because it makes you in tune with yourself and actually open up what you can give to yourself before you give to other people. And I have 3 jobs, and this was actually something very grateful for this weekend, because I was going insane. I was working 15 hours a week. 15 hours a day, and I had like barely any sleep. So this is actually all the job I love. I love making people laugh and taking care of them, making them look pretty, taking care of their nails. No, I don't do nails. I actually do hair and eyelash extension and waitressing. And to me, that is something I love to do. Love what you do and do what you love. So waitressing on people, some people said like, that's not educational job, that's just something that you just do because you're mindless. It actually put a lot of thought into waitressing, because you're actually taking care of people. You want to make people happy. And their way of coming to the restaurant or wherever you're at is to relax. So as I like to take care of people. So when they come, they're smiling. When they're leaving, or they're full, or they be like, oh, your service is awesome. Thank you for babysitting my kid while I'm eating. I'm like, oh, that wasn't part of the service. That's just something I love to do. Like with hair or eyelash extension, I know when you guys were explaining to me like, oh, your nail is not beauty's within, but if I can help somebody to actually make them or enhance what they have, and they're actually happy while they're leaving with a smile, that's what I do. But 15 hours a day with 6 hours sleep, it can drive you insane. So I'm just glad that we have 7 selective height and goal, and I'm very grateful that all of you guys are different. It's all you know, because without the differentness, we won't be able to relate. If all of you guys were dull and exactly the same, I don't think I can actually appreciate that. All of you have something to give back to us. And all of us that are here, from goal to height, and you guys are awesome just being here. Because even though I got tricked, but I love my mom. Just bottom line, recycle, give back to mother, people. Just try to back my brother up, but yeah.
Đại anh tí nhé. Kính thưa quý thầy, kính thưa quý sư cô, kính thưa các bác, các anh chị và các bạn. Trước khi mình tiếp tục chia sẻ nữa đó thì xin mời tất cả các thành viên của Tăng Thân Thảnh Thơi đứng lên để cho các em nhận những gì ra. Thay mặt cho các anh chị các bác ở trong Tăng Thân Thảnh Thơi, chúng con cảm ơn quý thầy, quý sư cô đã cho chúng con, những người ở vùng Seattle và lân cận có dịp để dự khóa tu, khóa cái retreat này, và cũng xin cảm ơn các cô chú và các bạn ở Tăng Thân Từ Tâm đã yểm trợ và giúp đỡ và cho chúng con có một cái retreat rất là thành công. Và luôn tiện cũng chia sẻ với các bạn trẻ là hôm nay những gì mình học, những gì mình biết mà nếu mình không có thực tập thì nó cũng sẽ quên hết. Và anh khuyên các em là nếu mà có dịp, có cơ hội thì họp nhóm lại với nhau, thành lập một tăng thân để giúp đỡ, cho có một cái bờ vai cho nương tựa lẫn nhau. Còn nếu mà các em cần sự hướng dẫn giúp đỡ gì của tăng thân Thảnh Thơi, anh rất là thảnh thơi hay là nếu mà ở gần vùng Tacoma hơn thì ở Tacoma cũng có tăng thân Từ Tâm. Thì nói chung là we're just a small group of friends helping each other out, supporting, lending each other a hand or a shoulder to cry on. Riêng bản thân của Trung Nhân á, thì I do a lot of crying and weeping and not a whole lot of supporting, tại vì mấy anh mấy chị người nào cũng có nhiều kinh nghiệm trong cuộc sống hơn Trung Nhân, nhưng mà sự thật đó là Trung Nhân cũng luôn tiện cảm ơn các anh chị ở trong tăng thân đã giúp Trung Nhân và gia đình vượt qua những cái khó khăn trong cuộc sống trong những khoảng thời gian gần đây. Thì ở trong cuộc sống các em thì nãy mấy em cũng có thường hay nói là có đôi lúc mình cũng gặp những cái khó khăn hay là gì, thì just know there's a saying that you know when you fall, you know who your friends are, and so you know I have fallen, and these are my true friends. So thì cảm ơn các bạn trẻ. You know, I wish I have you know, I have your diligence and you know, but yeah, I'm very happy that you are here. And so nếu mà có cần những cái support khi mà gặp những khó khăn gì thì you know that you can always count on us to be there for you and to guide you. So yeah, thank you.
Hi, I'm Tiffany. Okay, have a story to go. So I grew up in Arizona. There aren't that many Vietnamese people. I think the only Vietnamese people in my neighborhood that I've ever encountered are the ones in the nail salons. Last night, kind of funny. So I grew up with my parents being basically the only Vietnamese people that I came in contact with regularly. So I didn't really get what their obsession with fish sauce was. why we had to wear sandals inside the house, and why they my friends would come over and then they would ask like, why are your parents yelling at you? And I would just be like, oh no, they're just like talking to me. But yeah, I grew up not really knowing what Vietnamese American meant because I had nobody to talk to about with it. So having a Vietnamese American wake up retreat was, I think that's really cool that you guys decided to do that instead of just a general one, because in this case I get to talk to all of these people who have had similar experiences as me and just talk about this way of living, way of feeling, way of thinking. And then moving forward, this past summer I went on a medical mission trip to southern Vietnam, and there was this one day of clinic where people were just like pushing each other in line, and there were actually people just like pushing each other and yelling and just like lying. And we had free gifts for the patients who came, just like blankets and rice, and people would just like sneak through and just take it. And I didn't really understand, well, I understood why they were doing it. They were suffering, they were just like rice farmers. But I think this weekend really put things into perspective for me, and what Thầy Phap Yung said earlier about people, they're not bad people, but they're just people who derive those feelings from suffering and just, they don't know how to really deal with it. And then there was this another experience during clinic where there's this kind of middle-aged man, and he had had a stroke a year prior, and he was like, is there anything that I can take just to relieve these symptoms? He couldn't really speak normally, so he couldn't access his own memory or thoughts very clearly. So we asked him to just like count, and it would take him like 30 seconds in between each number. So it was very hard for him to communicate. And then, so we asked him to instead tell us about his kids, so just name them off one by one. He had about 9 kids, I think. But we did it over and over again with him for about like 10 to 15 minutes until he could say it more quickly, maybe 5-10 seconds in between each child. And when we talked about remembering our ancestors, to be mindful, I think that really brought it full circle for me. I was really skeptical going into the medical mission trip because with a lot of those things, you're just giving something to people and then you're leaving for a very long time. It's not a very sustainable way to help. So just being there for the people, it's meaningful to them too, but it's probably more meaningful to the people who go to help. But anyway, I think I kind of rambled. But I would really like to thank all of the time people set aside to be here. And I would like to thank the Thai and Kosos for being here and making their way here as well. Each one of you, I don't know, this is kind of weird to say, but you're all like my own mommies and daddies. No, but just they're guiding me in living.
Hi everyone, my name is Peter. I just wanted to take some time to share my experience here and thank a few people. First off, I wanted to thank my girlfriend Lynn and her parents. They've been very supportive and encouraged me to attend this retreat. Growing up, I felt like I was very not forced, but pushed to growing up early. I felt like I went through childhood too quickly, didn't enjoy my life as much as I should have. When I turned 21, I got a full-time job along with school. So it's a lot of stress, and I haven't been sleeping too well. I sleep a lot, but not too well. So I really thought coming to this retreat would be good. Lynn's parents who helped coordinate this along with all the other volunteers were really helpful, and I'm glad they were here. They encouraged me to come to this retreat to try to live a less stressful life and learn how to relax, and I really felt that I learned that. Deep relaxation is one of my favorites. I know going back home, I want to take some of the meditation training, like the walking meditation and the morning meditation back with me, and I hope that I can live a less stressful life. I want to thank my friends for being here, old and new friends. They've been very supportive, and although it's hard getting up, like knowing that they're going makes me go in the morning. I wanted to say thanks to my parents for being so open with me. They never held me back. They don't really have one religion. They do believe in a God, but they also believe in a way of living as shown in Buddhist teachings. So I thought coming here really opened my eyes to how I can live my life better. And then finally, I wanted to thank our monastic brothers and sisters for taking your time and cultivating this great experience for all of us. I know everyone has some form of stress in their own lives. Sometimes my friends back in Seattle don't understand my stress, but definitely want to take back to them like how to share our stresses and live better lives. And not only that, but thank you for bringing an inner child in all of us with the songs and for playing games with us. I think we were all very impressed with your volleyball skills. Thank you.
This is my second retreat. But yeah, so I went to Viet Park for my first retreat, and when I got invited back, I was kind of contemplating, because 6:30 is kind of scary to wake up. But, yeah, I'm kind of grateful that I came though, because I really enjoyed the Dharma circle. Everybody opened up. Even Brother Papai opened up to us. Yeah, I'm just grateful that I get to enjoy this time with everybody. Thanks to the monks and nuns. And yeah.
Nick. Behind you. Nick, say something.
Would you like to go first? First,
right?
Alright. Hold on, because I was a bit nervous before. I saw everyone talking. I was like, alright, I'm gonna go up, but yeah, I was starting to get nervous though. So I'm gonna calm down a little bit. Can we get it?
Hello everybody, my name is Tony Vo. First of all, I would like to thank all the monastic brothers and sisters that came out here to America to contribute and show people how to better their lives. And I would like to thank all the workers and volunteers for making all the food and cleaning up our messes. Everyone here made our event very enjoyable, so I thank everyone for coming out here. If it wasn't for the people, what kind of event would there be, Being the oldest of 7 kids was really hard for me growing up.
because even at an early age, I was always told to be responsible for my siblings. It was very hard because I was just a kid. All I wanted to do was have fun and, didn't want to grow up. But my parents were hard on me. This is the right thing. So every time I, try to help my parents out or be the good son they wanted, they would still treat me like trash. Even up to now, I don't regret anything, and my parents, I still love them. It's a little hard for them to understand, and raise 7 kids of their own. I know it's really hard. It's really hard. But right now they're working really hard to take care of the kids at home. Besides me and my brother that came out here. They pretty much are paying for this trip. Otherwise I wouldn't be here. I didn't ask to be out here, but they wanted me to be out here to be away and enjoying my time with new friends and all the monks. So I feel really bad sometimes. I don't know if I should, but yeah. I want to thank Trevor and Lisa for helping us out because they drove me, my brother here. Otherwise, I probably would have walked here and got here as soon as the whole event ended. I'm just really grateful for everything. I tried to show that I am, but I don't know how to. I'm sorry, I'm crying. I don't mean to be, but it's a little hard thinking back. You know what? This is not my first retreat, but it's a little hard opening up and trying to be at peace when when you really can't be, or when you have a lot of things going for you and a lot of things to think about. It's really hard. So at first I didn't want to take the. To be honest, I didn't want to try to be at peace because I know if I tried to be, it wouldn't work out. But I thought to myself, maybe I should try. Not weirded out or something. Because I might not know what might not happen, or what could happen, so why not try it out? So I thank the monks for showing us their teachings and the practices, and I'm gonna take the third mindful training a little serious because honestly, it's gonna seem really bad, but I've never really had a girlfriend, and I'm 20 years old. I think it's probably because my parents put such a high standard on me to be the very best, and they're very picky with who they want me to date. So maybe that's why I never had a girlfriend. I'm not saying I want one. Well, actually that's why I do. But I always thought maybe it's because I wanted a girlfriend because I wanted an escape, somebody to hold my back and support me, somebody to care for me, somebody to love. Because I've never experienced it before. Maybe it's something for people, or maybe it's not good for everybody, but it's something I want to, learn and experience. even if it'll be like a little hard and rough on the edges, because I hear a lot that relationships are not as easy as they seem. But I don't want to take everyone's time because this is our last day together, and I'm grateful for that. But we're all going to leave in a couple hours. That's gonna be a little saddening, but like, what's the point of like never leaving? If you never leave, you can never cherish the memories you have together. So that's fine. I'll get to see you guys in another year, maybe, right? So thank you everyone for listening. Let me just bow to show my gratitude and pass the mic, if that's fine. To the monks. Thank you.
Hello? I'm not really good with words, so I'd like to thank the monks and nuns for teaching us and giving us the practices and giving us a great time with each other. And
Is there something you would like to change when you go home? Some of the things that you wish to do?
before when I get home, I'm gonna try to play less games and spend more times with my friends and family. Yeah.
Hello? Is it working?
Yes.
Hi, my name is Kevin, and this experience was really great. I think everyone can relate when you can just take some days off from school and everything. And meeting everyone was just a great time, even if I didn't talk to a lot of you. But sometimes we can't let our inner child out at times. We try to act cool for everyone and stuff. Maybe I am right now. But it's just a really great experience to be with everyone. And I think I could just say for everyone that we're just gonna miss each other once the day ends and all that. Because we all came here for one reason, and really, I haven't had this much fun in a long time. And it was really great, and I'm gonna miss all of you. I want to thank the nuns and the monks, because, if we came here without them, what would we be doing in the first place? And just thank you for everyone coming here. It's really great meeting all of you.
Hi, my name is Neil and I'm from Boston. For such a long time I haven't seen people saying thanks to each other this much, so thank you God. I feel really good now. Second thing is that I think this retreat reminds me of childhood. Okay. The question that if you will not wake up tomorrow, will you sleep? I had that question for a long time ago. It happened since one of my childhood friends, and she never. Okay. Can you hear me? So she passed 10 years ago, and she never slept just because she think she would not wake up tomorrow. So I think that if I had a chance, I would have told her that if you die, it would be the story of tomorrow. Yeah, if you die, it could be the story of tomorrow. So today you still just sleep and enjoy the moment. Yeah. Unfortunately, I was not that wise when I was 7 years old. Yeah, so I think that we all have something that we want to forget, forever. So, but we still need to move on somehow and treasure the moment that we have in our lives. Yeah, kind of. Sorry for being so emotional. Yeah.
Thank you. Hello? Okay. Man, thank you guys for sharing. It touches me more and more every time. Man, I feel like a rapper with this thing, man. Hey, yo. Man, shout out to my monks, to my nuts. I gotta hold the pinky out. Man, no, it really means a lot. It's crazy to know about all that, you know. It's good to know that good people exist. So I know you guys are looking for feedback, you know. So you know, you know how hard it is to get people to play volleyball together and dodgeball together. I called 10 of my friends. I'm like, hey, let's go play dodgeball. They're like, nah. I don't want to do it. Hey, what do you mean you don't want to play dodgeball? Come on, man, it's gonna be fun. Let's play volleyball. Nah, I don't want to play volleyball. It's too cold. It's raining. I don't care. Let's play. But they don't want to do that. So it's cool. Just 10 people, they don't want to go. You know, 1 out of 10 people, would go. That's me. Right? But we're that 1 out of 10. You know, that's such a cool thing, is we're all that 10% that went to the retreat. You know, and I wish more people would have went. And so I want to thank you guys for organizing, everybody for organizing everything. Everybody. First I wanted to shout out to you guys and just be like, you guys are the best, you guys did this, but no, I think everybody did something and everybody organized it. So thank you so much for changing everyone's lives, you know. So yeah, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I'm a rapper now.
Melissa?
Thank you guys for playing volleyball with me. But it really wasn't before I met you guys and the nuns and monks. And I was actually tricked here because my brother told me we were camping and we could swim. But it turns out it was way better than that.
You're welcome. Oh my goodness.
Can you tell us how you managed to go out and sit in meditation so early in the morning? Were you one of the first people here?
Oh.
Can you tell us how you...
Oh no. My sister and my mom woke me up. That's the thing. I just sleep in the girls' dorm because when I looked at the thing, the name tag, I saw it said 108.7, and so I just slept in there and played with my sister's iPhone.
Many people here play video games. You share with them about your experience and how you transform that.
Oh yeah. I just had to find a hobby, and my brother forced me to do karate, and but before karate, I played a lot of games. I was like 6, 7, 8, and then my brother forced me to do karate, and then I found another game called League of Legends. So I started playing I stopped eating, and I wouldn't talk with anyone because all I thought about was playing games. But then I went back to karate, and I liked it. So yeah. I screwed up my perfect attendance in 6th grade, but I wanted perfect attendances because I had to put something on my resume in the future.
Oh my goodness.
I wanted to have straight perfect attendances, but I didn't want to go today because I'd rather hang out with you guys through school.
She skipped school too.
I'm a straight A student, so if I'm not at school, I'm probably studying or doing homework, or Dairy Queen, or something. So I never have time for myself and to appreciate myself for working so hard. So when I came to deep relaxation, it was the first time I talked to my toes. I was like, hey, Mr. Toes. The girl that was in charge of deep relaxation that day told us to appreciate every body part, and I did. It was really hard for me. Thank you, body.
to have a quick shout out for the little one. Every time you feel like you have a void or something to do to kind of occupy your free time, instead of turning to video games or whatever it might be, it could be anything, not just that, of course. Trying to recreate yourself or your mind, your body, physically, mentally, and all the above, in a healthy way. And tell your brother next time instead of calling his 10 friend, call you. I mean, to go out and play volleyball. FYI, yeah, vice versa, of course.
We think you should be a monk.
You're really good at it, so.
Hello. Đầu tiên là con xin cảm ơn các thầy, các cô cũng như các cô chú trong hội thảnh thơi, tăng thảnh thơi đã tổ chức cái sự kiện này. Con thấy nó 4 ngày retreat này, con thấy nó rất là có là ý nghĩa, và con thấy bản thân con đã học được, cũng như các bạn ở đây đã học được rất là nhiều điều bổ ích. Thật sự thì đây là lần đầu tiên mà con đến với một cái retreat như thế này, và đây là cái part của vacation, so it's a 2 weeks vacation. And khi mà bạn gái con nói là sẽ đi cái retreat 4 ngày, con nói là tại cái gì đi vacation mà phải đi retreat 4 ngày ăn chay hả? Thức dậy sớm nữa. Thôi chắc không đi quá. Girl have power, so. Con phải đi thôi, nhưng mà thực sự là con rất thích cái chuyến đi này. You guys are awesome. Con gặp được rất là nhiều người ở đây, rất là nhiều tất cả đều rất là friendly. Ngày đầu tiên con đến với Seattle thì I was walking in the street and I saw 2 girls walking toward me with a dog. And I was like, hey, my name. I didn't say my name, but hey, what's a nice day, huh? And they were looking at me like, and they walked past me, didn't even say hi. What? That's awesome. Cái điều mà con thấy khó nhất trong cái chuyến đi này là cái sitting meditation. Bởi vì con thấy là ngồi một chút xíu thì chân nó đã đau rồi, lưng nó cũng đau nữa. Thầy thì cứ kêu là focus on your breath. Con có muốn focus lắm nhưng mà khó quá. Cái đó thì take time. Với lại cái walking meditation is fun. I don't remember the last time I walked was so slow. I'm a slow walker. Đi rất là chậm. Tại vì từ khi con quen bạn gái con thì mỗi lần chúng con thường hay đi dạo trong công viên. Mỗi lần đi dạo như vậy thì con đi rất là chậm để ngắm cảnh. Nhưng mà bạn gái con thì cứ why are you walking so slow? She left me behind. Why are you walking so slow? We're here to exercise. You're here to exercise. We out here watching scenes. We're to enjoy the park. Just left me behind. Thì đó là con phải đi nhanh lên để đi kịp, chứ không là bị bỏ lại hết. Chưa bao giờ mà con được đổ thừa vào cái con nhiều như hôm nay. Cứ kệ sao đó. Cái điều con thích này đó là volleyball game. Mặc dù con sucks, but đội nào con vô là đội đó thua thôi. Mình không biết là cuộc vui nào thì cũng đến lúc kết thúc thôi, nhưng mà hy vọng là trong tương lai chúng ta sẽ còn gặp lại nhau và sẽ có những giây phút mà vui vẻ như thế này nữa. Và Hy vọng là tất cả chúng ta sẽ học được rất là nhiều điều từ chuyến đi này và sẽ áp dụng nó vào cuộc sống của chúng ta. So may our path cross again, guys. Be safe.
Who's the mean one? I mean.
Hello, my name is Tina. From this trip, so this is our third trip. I just wanted to thank the monks and the nuns for putting it on, because especially you, because I know this means a lot to you, and we're really grateful to be spending this time with you and all of these other people, and just learning about breathing and sitting. And I just would like, from the bottom of my heart, I would like to thank you for putting this together for us, because I know this means a lot to you and it also means a lot to us. So thank you.
Who's this you?
It was me focus on
All I have to say is that this retreat was good. Thank you.
How can you stand behind and talk to me?
Con xin lỗi dạ tại phải đi về bây giờ phải lái xe tới gần 4-5 tiếng mới về tới nhà, xe con môi đó xin bây giờ tôi xin phép cho thầy đi thôi như vậy tất cả cảm ơn thầy con rất là nhiều.
Safe travel.
Cho tụi này có cái cơ hội câu một lần.
Hy vọng đó là về nhà sắp xếp tháng 7 cho
Qua bên nhà.
Vậy tôi cảm ơn nha.
Bye. Hi, my name is Vin. My wife is Stephanie. It's just by fate we begin this practice only 1 year ago. Even we are strong Buddhist people. We read about Siom Thinyapan a lot, but we never have a chance to meet him. So last year we attended a retreat. But like I told you, the guy that every one of us, sometimes fate will bring you to something good. That today every one of you come here. Sometimes your mom will trick you to come here. That's why I feel that because we live along, we are much older than you, so we go through a lot. And a 10 years old child, I attend the Buddhist temple a lot. That's cultivate some considering. But at the time there's no kind of practice, some kind of practice like this. And when you're growing up and go to university, when you have a logic mind, you tend not to easily believe anything. So life go on, I begin to be dragged into the life and have a lot of stress like all your life, you know. When you graduate from the university, you begin to look for a house, car, all those. But even so, deep in my mind, I never liked those kind of material stuff. But because I have children to take care of, and family, and build. So, but slowly, actually about 10 years ago, my sister asked me to come down to California to attend one of these retreats. But at the time, so busy, and I skipped it. But last year, it's just a chance, a fate, on a working trip. The company
good schedule, and I must go back home to Seattle. I must fly to California for a business trip. I must fly back home on Friday. But on that Friday, there's an opening retreat in the park in California, so I am attending that. And fate allowed me to do that because instead of flying back, I asked somebody to delay my trip to Monday, so I don't need to pay for the airplane. So I said, hey, let's try this 3-day retreat. But that quite changed my view a lot after I go to the 3-day retreat. Then I called my wife right away on the second day and said, hey, honey, you should register to the next retreat on October, and Master Teaching Hang will be here too. Because even now I feel a very strong energy here. At the time of the retreat only have 50 people, but there's a mixture between Vietnamese and American. So even so, I feel the energy and the circle is very open up. So I feel that's very good thing for people to reduce their stress. So I called my wife and we set up the time for the next retreat. And then on October, when I attend the second retreat, I meet Mr. Hin. He's the founder of a Peaceful Sangha. He just stand up there. And Mr. Si also is the founder. Later on, I see him too. But Mr. Hin is the one who recruited me into his Sangha in Seattle. And when I come back from that retreat in California, I come back here, I try to find some Vietnamese Sangha, and Mr. Hin also introduced me to his Sangha. We are a small Sangha of about 12 people. And again, I told you, your guy is fit. Then, because I feel so much benefit of the practice, I feel deep in my mind that somehow, some way that one day I just have a dream to say that this practice will be spread out as much as possible to all young people, because I have a personal experience. My sister, she's a very strong Buddhist person, but when she grow the two child, she so go easy to them. Whatever they want, she gives them. She wants to bring them to the temple, but she never forced them. And that's a wrong mistake. I think that's a mistake. No, I tell you the truth, because when my daughter Lynn here and Melissa here, when they're young, we know that we need to bring the seed to them as soon as possible. Like me, when I'm 10 years old, I explore the temple. Even I don't really believe it, but I get used to. So one day when you have a water come out, it's blossom. So therefore, based on that lesson, I try to insist my sister to do that. But when the two child growing up, when they graduate from school, they have so much baggage. So my sister, regardless of what she told them, they never believe it. They never want to go to the temple. But for my true daughter, I have that experience. Actually, my wife, I must thank my wife, she's not here. But she's a very strong wife. I'm a soft grandfather, but I always. My wife always say, you must go. And they go. Or they say, well, I make you happy. Okay, I go. But that's really helpful now, because when they're growing up, they get used to the environment of the temple. So, to tell you the truth, even this wake up, we try almost beg them to go. Yeah, to tell you the truth. It's not easy to convince the young people to come to this retreat. Yeah, believe me. Only a couple months ago, me and Pháp Khải, we try desperately to recruit young people. I told my daughter, I will sponsor 14 young people to go. Tell them they don't need to worry about anything. I just try to put a seed to those young people, because I learned a lesson, my personal lesson. I try to convince my niece and nephew, the two of my daughter and my sister in van. They argued so much. Like a Sion told me one time in that retreat, he's saying that if you have a good seed, right, you have a fertile soil, but if there's some kind of plastic on top of that, block the rain. If the rain cannot come down, then the seed cannot blossom. And right now, my two niece and nephew, they have some kind of plastic covered up. So those plastic actually the back edge of the knowledge. When they think that they have 4-year degree and they have so much knowledge in mind, they cannot open up. So I insist them that please just take a chance to come to this practice. I will pay for everything. I will even drive you if you want to. And believe me, Brenda right here, Brenda, that's my niece, another niece, different niece. And Christine, she already gone yesterday. My wife, because she's so strong, she asked them first, convey them first, they don't go. Then later on, Brenda asked me, do I must go? Because they know that my wife is strong. Right? She don't need convince, you need to go. And then they go. Now they feel happy. So it's very good. It's very good for us. I know the fact that I'm brought back to convince the young guy to come, right? So when today, when I feel the retreat is so success and all of you have get that seat, I'm so happy. Even my wife cried. You know, last night we go home, we're very, very tired. We wake up at 1 o'clock, we talk about this. Yeah, we're so happy because my personal experience, believe it or not, I see the couple young guys here cry, but I cry too. I cry too because right now the bad thing going on my sister. My sister, the older boy, the one that I convinced him to come here, he have a bad relationship with his father. He's so hard, so tough. And no way I can explain, no way I can break that. I just wish he can come to this retreat to break that cycle.
Trick him.
Yeah, but that's so tough. So the only thing I can do here is I try to avoid mistake. Doesn't mean I can convince the young guy here, please help us to advertise for us. Yes, believe me. Because before today, only 2 months ago, every day we go home, we go to the mailbox, we look at how many people registered. For 1 month, we got only 2. It's so hard for us. And finally, we told Thầy Pháp Khải, maximum is 30 people. Yes, Thầy Pháp Khải know will be up and down. I work hard because the main reason for me to work hard because my personal experience. Because I know that when I'm young, if I have some seed, that seed not blossom yet, but one day, correct, like a land or something that come down, it blossom. So right now, the best thing for you guys young like this, you come here, you see the benefit, just spread out the word. So next time I don't need to work hard. Yes, that's what I mean. Melissa, you want to say something, Melissa?
Say something, Melissa.
So this may I'm asking. The first thing is when you go back, when we have a second retreat here, please just spread the word, advertise for us. Did you believe that on a couple of weeks ago, I must go to downtown Seattle, go to each car to put on the fire on the business card, regardless of time. We work until 1 o'clock and midnight because we want to spread out the word. But it's so hard to convince young people because they don't know what is the retreat is, right? And it's so tough. So right now, the best advertisement for young people. And the second thing is you should have also sponsor. Sponsor to your friends.
Trick you next time.
Well, thank you, Ju, again, for working so hard to get all of us here
And con cũng biết là nãy giờ các bạn trẻ, all the young friends have, a lot of great words to say about all our sisters and brothers here. So I don't think I should say anything else. But again, I'm so grateful of having them here to be our guide and to help us plow that soil that kind of been sitting there for a while that we don't realize how to cultivate it. So they have helped us to plant a seed in ourselves that to help the water grow. And con phải nói xin lỗi chú là because talking from a young person perspective, advertising con nghĩ là is not really working because the more you advertise, people is like, why would you want to advertise so much if this program is so good? So con nghĩ, I agree that we need to get more people into the group and to get them to expose to the 5 training of the mindfulness. But if we as ourselves would like to become that person to help cultivate, just choose anybody of your friends, even 1 or 2, and don't tell them, how great this event is or, all the details and things like that. But just, talk to them heart to heart and tell them, what kind of experience that you have learned here and what is the life-changing experience or something like an aha moment for you that you thought. And I think that's more effective than advertising and say, oh, you must go because this is how it's going to benefit you because, I don't think that kind of advertising would work. And con phải thật sự là xin lỗi tại vì con biết là chú work very hard to help and con cũng appreciate because, at first, con cũng like anybody is very optimistic about this even though like you do all the reading and everything, but like mình cũng khó biết được là khi mình tới đó mình sẽ gặt hái được cái gì until you know it from experience. So thí dụ mình share with anybody thì nếu mà mình có one specific example of how that helped you change, con nghĩ that's more effective than anybody. And I love to see all the energy in every one of you, and I hope that you can keep that energy alive. The part that I love most about the retreat is the sharing circle. At first, I have to agree, it's very hard because you just got to know them. You don't know, even though they say whatever's within the circle, stay in the circle. But it's very hard to open up to people that you don't really know. But in the past couple of days, I found that by sharing and hearing other people's story, it's very healing for me just to hear the story and allow myself to open up to speak to that. It's very helpful. So I'm thankful for that, and I hope because there's a couple people from this event that I know and close to. So I hope that I will be able to join that circle and continue that to help cultivate these seeds and pass it on. So thank you.
Hi everyone. Everyone say really wonderful things, so I have nothing to say. But okay, just me and my friend will say only one word, but in several languages. Okay. First thing, the words is. Can you guys guess if I say it? Kasamita. Korean, yes, but what does it mean? Thank you. Arigato gozaimasu. Japanese. Thank you. Russia.
Cảm ơn. Ác quân. Ác quân.
So only one word to say is thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for the month. Thank you for the all the volunteers. Thank you to everyone because if like without you we cannot make this event like happen. So thank you a lot.
So maybe one more last person before we leave.
Hi everyone, I'm Len. I'm Stephanie Lynn's daughter. I'm Melissa's sister. We're family, and I love you very much. This retreat was amazing, and it really opened me up. And see the bad things and the good things. And I've never felt this grateful, this much gratefulness and so much love. My mom, she's the strongest person I know. And I don't know if she's here. No. Talk bad about her now. No, I'm not going to talk bad about her. There's some struggles with her through the years. Like my dad said, she's a very strong woman. She was very very stubborn. And growing up, it was hard for me because I was the oldest. And there's a lot of expectations, to be the role model, to make sure your little sister follows your steps. And, for a long time, I believed that she believed that success was measured by money and becoming a doctor or an engineer. But in college, I found out that wasn't my path, and it was really difficult. We struggled a lot, argued a lot, and it was a really difficult time for me. But I'm still really grateful that happened, and I know that deep inside that I have my entire family inside me, and my friends here. I'm so happy that my friends decided to come with me. And everyone in my life is inside. And you guys, everyone here, you will always be here and deep inside. And thank you so much, Suko and Hey. Sorry, there's Suko. You guys have opened my heart in different ways, and I feel like I can enjoy myself. It's just tough out there in the real world. We all know school, work, relationships, but I've learned to just breathe in and out. And that will just, calm you down for a second and just realize that you're living, and I'm very lucky, and that these people that are looking at me right now, they all love me, and I love you just as much. Thank you for everything, and this was an amazing retreat.
Thank you so much, our dear brothers and sisters, for opening your hearts and sharing all this love and thoughts in your heart, because then it deepens the joy and the awakening nature in us. It's really a great happiness to just look at your faces. We'll miss you too. And we would like to come back in one form or the other in order to continue to plant the good seeds in you, to invest in your good earth. So I would like to ask how many of you would like to come to an event like this, if it were to happen again next year sometime. Yeah, all of us would like. And how many of you would be willing to let your friends and cousins and and you'll be willing to. Thank you. And how many of you would like to actually help organize this retreat? Yeah, wonderful. You know, because this retreat so far has been organized mostly by the elders, yeah, of the two big sanghas. But if you can help organize like the one in Toronto, last night Team Kim and Thao came up. They were all young people who organized because they went to just a day of mindfulness or retreat, and then they came together and organized the retreat in Toronto for us before we came here. So when you are this willing to organize, then the words will spread out much further because young people will trust you more and you will use your language, you know, that the language that they would understand. So that's wonderful. So do we need to get the names or we?
Yeah, it's not organized for next year.
Like organized, yeah. Yeah. So last night we talked about the wake-up events that we can have a sangha, a community of wake-uppers. How many of you would like to be able to get together and practice? You know, you can practice every other week or once a month.
Are you in Seattle?
Yeah.
Are you in Seattle?
Yeah.
Maybe Lynn or Andy could try to get together. So it's not to organize a retreat. You get together and you eat lunch together inside.
Fun! Or to sit together, like we did the, flash mob the other day. To sit together and walk together, do deep relaxation together. I think they did that somewhere, right? When they had a birthday party for many people in the group, so they got together and have.
Basically, you don't wait for it. You know what I mean? It's your life. You want to organize.
So dear friends, on behalf of the monks and nuns, we want to take this moment, this opportunity to acknowledge the works of the local organizing team to put up so much work to make it happen to us. And the 4 days retreat would not happen or would not be possible without amazing Bodhisattva locally here in Seattle organizes for us. So we want to take this opportunity to acknowledge and appreciate them. This retreat or this event was cooperated between Chu Shanya, Tăng Thang Thành Thơi, and Tăng Tăng Tùy Tam. Tăng Thang Thành Thơi, the one that we just met earlier, all of the elders were standing up earlier introducing themselves, and he's the one who organized from pretty much from A to Z, and then the Tăng Thang Tùy Tam was the one who helped out with the kitchen part, cooking today, Saturday and Sunday. So let us invite all of the members of the Tăng Thang Thành Thơi to come up here so that we can present the gifts to each one of you. Còn mời chị Minh Thức, anh Tuấn, anh Tiến Hỷ, chị Phương, anh Hinh, anh Sĩ, anh Thi, anh Vinh, và chị Stephanie. Chúng còn có một món quà nhỏ nhỏ để gửi cho các anh chị mà vui nhiều. Là một cái điều vui lòng biết ơn của thầy của sư cô cũng như các em trẻ của đây là việc có tu, nhưng cái lòng rất là quảng đại và bao dung của quý vị hãy mở lòng ra để tổ chức cái khóa tu này hiện giờ từ tinh thần cũng như là tới phương diện tài chánh sao cho các em để có được cái khóa tu này có hoàn mãn. Trước tiên con xin gửi đây là món quà cho anh Hinh. Anh Hinh là giống như hồi nãy có đây là một trong những người founders của Tăng Thang Thành Thơi. Và anh Hinh rất là he's very noble, very humble, and usually he likes to work behind the scene. So thank you so much. Are you here? And he is also another person who's taking care of the technical part. will make it the sound system available to us in conjunction with Tung. He's also very generous and offer whatever he can for this retreat, whatever we need. We just ask him, he's there for us. So we just leave it here. So this is for Yuban and Co Stephanie, one of the main core members organizing for this retreat, who have put so much love, effort, and energy into this retreat to make it possible for us. And as we heard earlier, that they actually stay up until 1 o'clock in the morning to go around to passing out the flyers. Thank you. So this is for Ji Phương, Dạ Khoa, who have now coordinating a few events, a flash mob with us, taking care of the food for the monastic and so on. So thank you, Ji. And this is Bon Tinh Hỷ, is one of the great supporter of the Tăng Tăng Thành Thai, and it's also for this event. And I think that we met him 4 months ago. He just is amazing. He is a great supporter. Everything that we talk about, he's in. Thank you very much. And this is for Ji Nick, who has been playing an amazing role of doing outreach for us. Most of us here, we know her, especially the VSA. She is a bridge builder between different generations. It's also the founder of Happy Link. So I don't think that we would know the VSA or have connection with all of the VSAs without her. So thank you, Ji. Okay, so this is for Tung. So we heard him share earlier. You see this wonderful sound system that we got. It's a brand new sound system that Tung just bought. It sounds so good just for this event. Thank you, Anne.
Would you tell the young people what's in there?
So these are the gifts that we offer. These are books that are written by our teacher. Okay? And the roles in this is calligraphy written by our teacher. Okay?
Linda Melissa.
And for one of our wonderful young friends who have put up a lot of effort, especially with their mom and their dad, and been very patient with mom and dad to come to this retreat and have us to organize, especially for Flash Mob and the public talk at the University of Washington. So thank you so much for Melissa for being so open-minded and supporting us. Melissa, thank you. Okay. So the rest of the people, they're not here, so we'll pass them on. Last but not least, I would like to offer some of the VSA members. I know that especially from you guys working so hard during this retreat to do a lot of things behind the scenes for us. So we have something that we would like to offer to you. May I invite all of the VSA members? So what we have is a pen. It's a logo of Lung Village. It's Smarty, Samadhi, and Prajna. So mindfulness, concentration, and insight. So this is something that's a souvenir and pass it on to you so you can remember the people and remember from you.
And also it has the shape of the temple in Vietnam. It has only one pillar. And it's actually a very famous architecture in Vietnam, the north of Vietnam. And there is one pillar.
Oh, they're just making paper first. So as we sing this song, look at everyone. Mindfulness and appreciate everyone's present. Everyone was a little different. Thank God. No coming, no going, no after, no before. I hold you close to me. I release you to be so free. Because I am in you, and you are in me. Because I am in you, and you are in me. Come again.
I just want to make a very short and quick announcement. For those of you, if this is your first time and you're not familiar with being on the peninsula like this, so if you're taking on the way home, if you take the Tacoma Bridge, please make sure that when you get close to the Tacoma Bridge, there's a toll fee that you have to pay for it on the way home. There are actually 4 lanes, so the station is only the 2 right lanes. The 2 left lanes are for the people who with the pass. So it's very easy for us to forget. So if you forget and you drive your pass by, they're going to send you a ticket later because there's a camera on top. So make sure when you get close to there, make sure you pull to the right and pay for it. Is it €5? $5 or something? Yeah. So please remember, if you take the Tacoma Bridge, you can do that. Or the other alternative, you can take the ferry. Okay?
Great dear ones, we need your help. So we need you to help bring all this, the centerpiece to return to the earth. Also help to roll up these mats and topper and bring all the dishes out and clean up. So if every one of us just give a hand for 5 minutes, it will be done beautifully. Thank you. So some strong young men or women, please help bring the wood out. And some start to roll the carpet and put one on one side. Thank you.
But someone that touches it, falls off.
Let's get out. Oh, that's smart.
Xin gặp rất là nhiều trên đây.
Dạ, có mấy cái clip.
On the way out, everyone, please don't bring the dishes. Yeah.
Cái nói mấy giờ mình đi không hay là gặp ở đâu không? Đi đâu? Về á. Rồi. Bây giờ nữa
Có bảo có hết hả?
Con đi con bận baby quá không có qua, không qua được. Trời ơi, để được nghe chia sẻ vui lắm. Dạ. Nhưng mà không có qua đây được. Để cái chương này để chú này của ai vậy? Của anh chị Minh, anh Vĩnh. À ok. Rồi chị cho chị Minh. Dạ đời con chị Tiên và đó mới bốc con Tiên. Cứ đưa đi không sao. Biết sao? Cứ đưa đi không sao. No. Đừng từ từ đừng lo không lo cái cứ lấy đi rồi tính sau. Không thì để đó ăn cơm sống mình để đó. Đi chơi thà đi chơi ăn sau đi chơi dung dạ à về nói kìa dạ bye nha cái bông ẩm.
There you go. I don't know, but can you stack a lot of beanies on me? Oh, do these all have pins? Oh, yes! Pins. Great. Let's do this. All right, man. You feeling good? Feeling good. Feeling good in the neighborhood. I got them all right here.
Cái này con không có chơi được. Mẹ bông đi chơi nha. Mẹ bông.
Xem một trận phải không á. Chạy đến ba đi. Ba. Ba đâu, còn lên ba đi. Đi lên trường gì có rảnh có cho em gì không? Gì em cần gì? Em phải mua đồ đó xe thì đi hả đây là cô thử đấy. Đi chơi. Em cái nào ra xe thì không mà vừa đẹp mà hay là Bích Hạnh em chạy xe rồi gần đây đi. Bọn em có xe. Ông quên nữa. Chị chạy. Để bày không. Để xe chỗ này nè.
Giờ chúng ta phải về với chị. Đặt lại ha. Cái này thì đặt gì đó con.
Anh nói điện qua nó về nó chạy xe tới đây.
Giờ đem ra chị giờ làm sao về. Okay, well, they support you, huh?
Yes.
Nice. Okay.
Ooh, what a teamwork. Em nhờ xe tới trước để hỏi cho con luôn.
I'm too slow. It's not tight.
baby. Rồi, để cái gì lên đó, gọi dây giò nó cuốn rồi.
Anh nói em biết cuốn chạy giò, em cuốn nó đẹp được.
Ủa, dùng cái giấy đó hả? Hay thế.
You guys know about OC? What, 10 minutes picture? Yes.
Cái chuông này là của ai phải không?
Sau ăn thư phải không?
Dạ.
Ăn thư và thành tâm phải không?
Dạ.
Rồi, I will tell brother Bắc Khôi.
Yes, thank you.
You too.
Tới đây mẹ. Dạ. Tới đây mẹ. Nào mẹ đây, mẹ đây. Dạ. Mẹ ơi. Có đúng nha. Oh no no. No, không có được. Không được. Áo. Áo. Này.
Thank you.